What is your concrete program on the issue of climate change?
Yeah, very good question, Let's approach the problem this way. Climate change is a reality. However, the Philippines is not a climate maker. We emit less than 1% of the world's damaging greenhouse gases. The biggest ones are China, India, and other industrialized countries. We are a victim of climate change. Since we do not emit that much or even minuscule amount of the gases that damage the world, what should we be focusing on given our experience? That is called climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. That is the number one priority of any government right now, of our country. The focusing of keeping people, given the fact that it's going to be a reality that we will be more and more affected adversely, not beneficially, adversely by changes in global climatic patterns. How do you keep your people as safe as possible? That is climate change adaptation. I'll give you a simple example. In Candaba, Pampanga, where it is a reality that it floods several times a year, their houses are built on very high stilts. The stilts are quite high. So even if it floods, the bangkas can park in their living rooms. And they have changed their agricultural and aquacultural patterns so that if it's not flooding season, they make money through planting of rice. If there is a drought, they plant watermelons. And if it floods, they have the facilities already to impound the fish. So whatever happens, they have adapted. Okay. And they have an additional, hopefully, an additional source of revenue when it floods. They have the bird watching because it is a migratory area. It's an area for where migratory birds, have their resting places. But then again, it is also a study in disaster risk reduction because the presence of migratory birds in the area means to say that it is a ripe area for an avian flu pandemic. And we always practice in the NDCC an exercise where we have to isolate the area. So that's what I mean by climate change adaptation. The realization that you will flood, the realization that a volcano will explode, the realization that an intensity 7 earthquake may happen because of a Marikina or West Valley fault, and building a community that can withstand or live with these kinds of natural phenomena. That is climate change adaptation. And after Ondoy, Pepeng, Ramil, climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction means rebuilding metropolitan Manila in the lines of the original design of Manila by Daniel Burnham before independence in 1946. Manila was designed to be a small habitated community which should have been centered alongside the Pasig River. The river was the center point and the focal point of what Manila should have been, in accordance with the designs of Paris, Venice, and the like. However, after independence, without any planning, it followed the example of Los Angeles. Sprawling subdivisions, single-level bungalows in unsafe areas. Manila was supposed to have been built this way, it was built that way. So because of that, what does climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction mean for government in Metro Manila? Simple, an expenditure of 208 billion pesos to rebuild correctly what has been damaged. If that is the bill alone for Metro Manila, what more if we have to sustain a growing population in other places of the Philippines. Who are from Cagayan de Oro here? Anybody from Cagayan de Oro? Nobody from Northern Mindanao? Okay. For the first time in history, last year, because only of continuous rains, Cagayan de Oro already flooded. Wala pang experience sa pagbabaha sa Cagayan de Oro. What do you do to save Cagayan de Oro? Typhoons, or not merely typhoons, but continuous rains cause a lot of damage already because of saturation of the soil and mudslides, landslides. For the first time in my life, last year as NDCC chairman, I heard reports of people dying from tornadoes. Never heard of that before. And water spouts. I forgot the term for water spouts. People die. So that's what it means for us. Rather than, or alongside the quest of having cleaner emissions through sustainable and renewable forms of energy, which should include probably studying whether or not we should establish nuclear power in this country. The United Arab Emirates alone, Abu Dhabi, signed the 25 billion peso contract with Korea. UAE is a large oil exporter to establish about 10 nuclear power plants for its country because they think that it is a more sustainable and cleaner form of energy than fossil fuel. So those kinds of initiatives to save the world from emissions are important, but not as important as the initiatives to protect our people from the effects of climate change, which we do not create, but we are a victim. There should also be strong diplomatic initiatives to give the responsibility for those who damage the earth to mitigate the sufferings that they cause here. And I think after the Copenhagen Accord, about $300 billion of amelioration in a span of 20 years is supposed to be distributed.